They say love conquers all. We grow up believing that if a woman loves you deeply enough, nothing else matters. Not money, not status, not influence. But Carl Jung would smirk at this naive illusion. Because in the unconscious, love is never just love. It is tangled with survival, with power, with shadow desires that remain unspoken, but always acted upon. And this is why, when women are faced with the choice between power and love, love almost always loses. Not because women are heartless, not because they are manipulative, but because the psyche, the deep, unconscious part of the human mind, prioritizes survival and dominance over feeling that can fade with time. Jung understood something most men refuse to accept, that the archetypes driving human behavior are older than romance. Love is a cultural idea. Power is a primal instinct. One can be sacrificed, the other cannot. Think about it. A woman may adore the kind, gentle man who gives her attention and affection. But when a stronger figure enters the picture, wealthier, more dominant, more socially powerful, her psyche responds to him at a deeper level. The first man gave her love, but the second man offers security, protection, and status. And to the unconscious, that outweighs affection almost every time. This is not cynicism. It is psychology. Jung wrote extensively about the anima and animus, the inner masculine and feminine energies within us. He believed that women are unconsciously drawn not to men who simply provide emotional connection, but to men who embody the archetype of strength and authority, because it awakens the anima's need for protection and transcendence. When women choose power, it is not a logical calculation. It is not her sitting down with a pen and paper weighing who has more money. It is an instinctive reaction of the psyche, just as a man cannot help but be drawn to beauty and youth. A woman cannot help but be magnetized by dominance and strength. And yet, this truth terrifies men, because it reveals how fragile love really is. Love is celebrated in songs, novels, and movies, but in reality, it sits on a foundation built on power. Remove the foundation, and the love collapses. Jung would say that this is why so many relationships shatter when life tests them. The unemployed man who loses his sense of direction often finds his partner drifting away. The once charismatic man who grows weak, passive, and indecisive watches the affection in his relationship evaporate. It is not because the woman suddenly became evil or ungrateful. It is because her unconscious chose survival and strength over sentimentality. This is the raw truth most men refuse to face. You are not loved for yourself. You are loved for the power you radiate, consciously or unconsciously. But here's where Jung goes deeper. He reminds us that power itself is not just external. Money, status, position. Real power is psychological. The man who understands himself, who has integrated his shadow, who radiates calm authority without needing validation. This man can captivate a woman beyond her rational control. He may not have the biggest bank account, but he embodies archetypal power. He becomes, in her psyche, the king, the warrior, the sage. Why does she choose him over the man who only loves her with tenderness? Because tenderness without power feels unsafe. It feels incomplete. Love without strength is like a house built on sand. It might stand for a while, but the first storm will wash it away. This is the unsettling paradox that Jung forces us to confront. Women may say they want love, but what they actually choose, again and again, is power disguised as love. And if you don't understand this, you will mistake rejection as betrayal, when in fact, it is the psyche's brutal honesty. Look back at your own life. Was there ever a woman who seemed to adore you, until a more powerful presence appeared? Did it feel like betrayal? Or was it the unveiling of a truth you never wanted to see? The truth that Jung hands us is sharp, but liberating. If women are wired to choose power over love, then you must stop depending on love as your foundation. Build power, not to manipulate, but to embody strength that cannot be ignored. Only then does love even have a chance to survive. Because love without power is fragile. But power creates the conditions where love can last. And until you accept that, you will keep living in the illusion that love is enough, while wondering why she always chooses someone else. Every man has either seen it, lived it, or heard whispers of it. The story of the woman who claimed she wanted nothing but love, only to abandon it when power knocked on her door. It's a tale that echoes through friendships, families, literature, and history itself. And yet, each time it happens, men are shocked, because they believed her words more than they understood her psyche. Jung would say this shock comes from a man's projection of his own anima. He assumes women desire what he desires: connection, loyalty, and affection. But the female psyche is moved by something different. Let us start with the most common real-life pattern. A young couple falls in love. They have little money, little stability, but a lot of passion. He believes this is enough because movies told him so. She tells him she doesn't care about material things, that she only wants him. For a while, this is true. Their connection feels real. But as the years pass, pressure builds. Bills pile up. He drifts without ambition, or worse, loses his edge. Then enters another man, a boss, a leader, someone with social gravity. He doesn't necessarily love her more, but he radiates certainty, direction, and power. The attraction is undeniable. She may fight it, she may feel guilty, but eventually her psyche pushes her toward him. The first man had love, the second man had power. And in the unconscious calculation of survival, power wins. This story is not about greed. It is about instinct. Jung insisted that unconscious drives are stronger than conscious promises. Just as a man cannot stop his eyes from noticing beauty, a woman cannot stop her psyche from responding to dominance. You can fight biology with willpower, but it will eventually wear you down. History is filled with these patterns. Queens and empresses who married for alliances, not affection. Women in ancient tribes who followed warriors, not poets. Even in literature, the heroines of epic tales are rarely drawn to men of mere kindness. They are captivated by kings, conquerors, or men who embody the archetype of strength. Helen of Troy, Cleopatra, Anne Boleyn, all women who aligned themselves with power, even when love might have pointed elsewhere. Were they shallow? Or were they simply living out the archetypal patterns Jung described? Carl Jung would remind us that these stories are not about individuals, but about collective symbols. The man abandoned for someone more powerful is not just himself. He is the archetype of the discarded lover. The woman who chooses power is not just acting selfishly. She is enacting the ancient pull of the anima toward survival and elevation. Every individual story is a reflection of the same timeless pattern. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Think of the workplace. A woman may be dating a man who treats her well, but when she encounters a charismatic leader at work, her attraction shifts. Why? Because she is confronted with embodied power. Confidence, decisiveness, vision. Her biology whispers, "This man can protect. This man can provide. This man can elevate my life." Even if she never acts on it, her psyche has already moved. And often, eventually, her actions follow. This is why Jung warns men not to take rejection so personally. When a woman leaves love for power, it feels like betrayal. But in truth, it is simply instinct overpowering intention. She may have loved you in the conscious sense, but her unconscious never stopped searching for the archetypal figure who embodied strength. This doesn't mean all women are doomed to betray, but it means that without power, psychological, social, or spiritual, your love is fragile. Consider the countless stories of celebrities and athletes who date women far outside their usual social circles. These men are not chosen for their tenderness or sensitivity. They are chosen because their aura of power eclipses everything else. The same women who once swore they only wanted a good man are suddenly captivated by someone who hardly even speaks their language. This is the silent hand of the unconscious at work. But here's the deeper truth Jung gives us. Power doesn't only mean money or fame. Power is also inner authority. A man who knows himself, who radiates calm strength, who refuses to be controlled by fear. This man carries the energy of power, even if he lives in simplicity. A woman can sense it, even if she cannot explain it. To her unconscious, he feels like a fortress. He feels safe. And in that safety, attraction blooms. Now contrast this with the man who only offers love. He may write her poems, shower her with affection, give her gifts, and devote himself completely. At first, she may feel flattered, but soon, something inside her shifts. Without strength, his love feels heavy, even suffocating. She may even resent it. Why? Because love without power feels like weakness, and weakness breeds insecurity. Jung would say this is the animus speaking. The inner masculine within a woman does not want a partner she can control. It wants a partner she can respect. Respect is born not from affection, but from authority. A man who commands himself commands her attention. A man who collapses under his own emotions loses it. Carl Jung warned us that the most dangerous illusions are the ones we build around love. We want to believe love is pure, unconditional, eternal. But when we strip away the poetry, the myths, and the promises, what remains is psychology. And psychology is rarely romantic. It is brutally honest. At the heart of Jung's work is the idea that human beings are governed not by what they consciously believe, but by what their unconscious demands. In the unconscious, love is not the priority. Power is. Not power in the selfish sense, but in the archetypal sense. Power is the force that guarantees survival, stability, and continuity. Jung's concept of the animus explains why. The animus is the inner masculine within every woman. It shapes her attraction, her standards, her unconscious desires. And what does the animus look for? Strength, authority, and direction. Not sweetness, not sentimentality, not a man who will hand over his soul at the first touch. The animus respects the man who commands himself, the man who radiates inner sovereignty, the man who embodies the archetype of the king, the warrior, the sage. This is why Jung believed that love without power is incomplete. When a man offers only affection, he does not engage the animus. She may enjoy his presence, she may even appreciate his devotion, but her unconscious will never surrender to him. Without power, there is no respect. And without respect, love withers. Now, look at the shadow, the dark, hidden part of the psyche. Jung argued that every woman carries a shadow that seeks safety in dominance. Her shadow whispers that love without protection is dangerous, that tenderness without strength will collapse. So when she is faced with the choice, her shadow pushes her toward the man who embodies power, even if her conscious mind tells her she wants love. This is why so many men experience the same heartbreak. They gave their best, their loyalty, their care, and still lost. They thought they were fighting another man. In reality, they were fighting her unconscious, and no man can win that battle without embodying power himself. But here lies the liberation. Jung does not leave us with despair. He teaches us that power is not just about wealth or status. Those things fade. Real power is inner authority, the integration of your shadow, the mastery of your emotions, the refusal to live as a victim. When you know yourself, when you stop begging for love and start commanding respect, you radiate something she cannot resist. Because in truth, women are not choosing between love and power. They are choosing between weakness and strength. And strength, true strength, creates the conditions for love to grow. So the lesson is not to become bitter, not to hate women for following their instincts, but to transform yourself into the man who embodies power and love together. Jung would say that this is individuation, the process of becoming whole. A man who has faced his shadow, embraced his fears, and claimed his authority becomes unshakable. He is no longer at the mercy of rejection, because he is no longer begging for love. He is love and power combined. And when a woman meets this man, her unconscious bows. Not because he manipulates her, not because he forces her, but because he carries the archetype she was always searching for. So ask yourself this: are you trying to win with love alone? Are you pouring devotion into a relationship while ignoring your own strength, your own sovereignty, your own shadow? If so, you are building on sand. Love without power is fragile. But when you embody power, calm, grounded, inner power, love becomes possible. Love becomes lasting. Love becomes real. Carl Jung leaves us with the hardest truth. A woman may say she wants love, but she will always choose the man who radiates power. If you want her love to last, build your power first. And now I'll ask you, the viewer, do you agree with Jung? Do you believe women are wired to choose power over love? Or do you think love can truly stand on its own? Comment your thoughts below. And if this opened your eyes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and consider supporting with a super thanks, because the more we uncover Jung's hidden truths, the stronger you become, not just in relationships, but in life itself.